L Train says Bucktooth Clubfoot, Lady K, and the Indian. I don't know who that is. Who's the Indian? Had quite the cope and seethe session this weekend. Actually, the summaries I read of the K interview was that she was very critical of Nick and informed that the community is very critical of him. And Bucktooth, who was broadcasting from a Mexican karaoke restaurant, Jesus. The guy has a limitless, he'll be fine in the streaming world. I was wrong. He has a limitless capacity for embarrassment. He was trying to sweep it up, Jan, sweep it up. And, oh boy, was it embarrassing. McBuster says, also, Doom, Melton's paid intimidation enforcer, is going after Joey C. I don't. Melton already doxed Joey C's Super Tips donors live for all to see. Super Tips is fine. I wouldn't give to that thing that takes all your information and all that to a guy who's emotionally unstable and loses his mind on a regular basis. I mean, I trolled the out of him last week, and I put Carl into like a 30-minute seethe session with just around and being silly. It's not hard. It's not hard. Aaron, how comfortable are you living when it's 800 square feet and 2 bedrooms, double mattress max? Now, what he's talking about is MN Public Records released the breaking news that former Steel Toe co-host April is indeed now on her witness thing for my deal. Her parents' address was listed as her address. And I think Candy, Ojai County, the people in that community hate Nick so much that they just dig up dirt because they discovered that April is currently living in an 800 square foot wall mounted air conditioned unit, crack den. I mean, it looks like a shitty crack den in Wilmer, Minnesota. And Nick doxed this address live on his comeback stream, which is not getting good reviews, by the way. People were, well, I mean, it was kind of the usual. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Who you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? And, oh, I'm actually the good one, and everyone else is conspiring. I mean, it was the same horse shit, really. It was just, the review I heard mostly from people was it was too boring to get through. And it was a lot of like, it could have been a private conversation because it was him just getting angry at everyone who called him out on his shit. I mean, he ain't over it. So he doxes this address live on the air. And my theory would be that he is still... Look, she knows where the bodies are buried. And she has been very upset. You know, as Keanu has said, she would call Keanu complaining about the verbal and psychological abuse she was getting. Now, you feel bad for someone to a point, but eventually you just go, look, then split. But some women, you know, my divorce lawyer told me this. Some women, their main goal in life is to just not work. They just don't want to work. They just want to bang on the drum all day. So what are you going to do? You put up with it. You put up with the abuse. You put up with the abuse. You put up with the abuse. You're still putting up with the abuse. That's on you. My theory is that he's paying for this spot, not telling anybody, because a whole lot of hell came down on him for keeping, you know, a family and a side piece. You know, as it does. You know, I know this better than anybody. People get mad. And the other thing is, when you have a side piece, I've had a side piece or two in my day, people find out. People find out because you're so coon-brained that you can't see the obvious vibes you're putting out and the signs that you're putting out there, and people follow them. People like gossip. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that he never broke things off. You know, he drives, you know, he always complains about how much he's driving those kids. So, no, it's unfortunate. I mean, I've done some stupid things. As you know, I pled guilty to a very stupid thing that I did. But I've never doxed a side piece live on my show. I got to say, I am officially not the member of the former polycule that did the dumbest reveal on air. I did a dumb reveal that cost me $50, but I didn't do a dumb reveal that could potentially cost me my life. Doxing the address of your side chick live on the air. Ooh, dog. Now, we're not going to do it here. That would be mean. That would be shitty. That would be an awful, retarded thing to do. And also, don't touch the cows. That's Kiwi Farms' big rule. I ain't going to touch any cows. Just enjoy the laughs. Enjoy the milk, supposedly. But then I talked to Scott, and Scott was so excited today. Scott was glowing this morning when I went into the gym. He goes, I got something for you. You got to hear this. And he played for me 3 voicemails that he got from an Onion guy that was so incensed about the ruse that we pulled on them. He was so incensed that he got had that, and I guess just doesn't have a life outside of the internet. He left 3 messages in 7 minutes. He's like, I want to talk to Aaron. I want to talk to Aaron right now. Scott, you have to let me talk to Aaron. He's a piece of shit. And Scott just looks at me like he always does. And he goes, what kind of sad lives do these people have? And I go, I looked at him. I go, how do you feel? And he goes, it's too easy. I said, thank you. That's exactly how I feel about it. It's too easy. So Scott was feeling good today about his accomplishments, if you will. The gym was a lot of fun. I heard Gino was going off today. I listened to some of Gino's show before this one, and I tell you, when Gino gets something right, when Gino knocks something out of the park, he likes to let people know about it. And I empathize. I do the same thing from time to time. Gino, he was on one today, boy. He was on one. And it was nice. He called me. Well, I'm sitting in the sauna. He calls me and he goes, hey, do you mind if I post this thing, the subpoena thing from your case? And I was like, yeah, there's nothing you could. Yeah, that's fine. He goes, oh, that won't hurt you in any way? I'm like, I pled guilty. Like, I beat the felony, crushed the felony, admitted to the thing I did, and we're done. Like, I just have the sentencing thing. Speaking of which, I got a call from probation today. And probation scheduled, what do you call it? The pre-sentencing interview. I got that scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. I'm really excited about that. I have to say, I cannot say enough how kind, and I know that sounds weird, but how kind Stearns County has been. They're just so professional. Like, at no point did any of this feel personal. It just always felt like people were doing their jobs, and we came to an agreement that we all were happy with, that we all liked, that I felt held me accountable for what I did, but also the punishment was such that it kind of acknowledged that, look, maybe this fell into our lap a little bit. It's a little played up. It's maybe a little ridiculous, but by the, what did we say? The letter of the law, I did that thing. Totally fine. All's well that ends well, right? Well, this probation person calls, and she was really nice. She was joking with me, and we set the thing for 1:00. And I did talk to someone today. They're like, well, they were probably trying to disarm you and get your guard down. I'm like, well, I understand that, but I don't really have anything to hide. Like, I've admitted what I did. I'm very sorry. I even told her, I'm like, I'm sorry that this is taking up time in your day. I'm sorry that what I did has caused people to have to work, because of the caseload. How do I know that there's county workers who didn't work overtime and miss time with their kids and miss time with their families because I had to be a dipshit because I was in my feels? Like, why? That's a shitty thing to do. That's me kind of being a pain in the ass. But yeah, the whole deal was just kind of like it's coming to an end. It feels like something's coming, because it's coming in for a smooth landing. Everything's just kind of wrapping up real nice. I see that Gino and Keanu are very much bragging at people who were wrong about them having to come in and do their thing. They're joking about how, oh, I still haven't been served. Don't know where that's coming from. The whole deal. It was, they're enjoying themselves. Put it that way. Julius with $5 said, I asked Nick if he hacked your email. He said no and proceeded to have a 1,000-yard stare. I think he missed you. You don't think that everything he does is about missing me? He just wants to be close. People with the mental illness that Nick has, people with the brain breakage that Nick has, cannot handle being told no. And I told him no, and I've been telling him no for over a year now. And it has so very clearly broken his brain. That and the events of the last year. So I do not, and by the way, he is, I mean, even the stuff you don't think he's lying about, he turns out to be lying about. Like that renting that place for April in Wilmer there that he doxed the other night. Dude, somebody's got to step in and stop that shit because that's dangerous. I'm telling you, like, I know the parties involved. People aren't safe. Like, somebody could end up getting hurt. These are not stable people. These are crazy people. And, it'll be another. I mean, I've been full of I told you so's with that guy. I've been trying to, teach him the way, teach him the light. He doesn't listen. He learns the hard way. I get it. I have too. But there's going to be another I told you so coming. And I'm wondering, I'm like, when's his luck going to run out? And they're not going to be painful because none of his lessons have been particularly painful. I mean, physically painful. They're going to be at some point. He has pissed off a lot of people. His entire community despises him. One half of his whole family hates his guts. And he's going to turn more of them. And like, again, you're playing with fire, dude. You're playing with a crazy person. And you're telling them shit that you're never going to do. And you're keeping them locked in a home. You're telling people you don't even know where they are. That turned out to be a lie. I mean, bro, you're not smart enough or cool enough to handle this. You're a nerd, and this is going to come back to get you. I mean, look, again, hate to say I told you so, but like shit like this for dumb guys and dorks like you, this ends up with hurt for sure.